What's up, guys? I actually got a good friend of mine here at my house in Florida. We're gonna actually break down how this guy at the age of 25 built a six-figure a month Airbnb arbitrage business. A little bit about his backstory, how he did it. We're gonna give some insights, some real tips on how you guys can get started, how you can scale it to a higher level. But before, tell them a little bit about your background, where you're from originally, and what's your background before you got into it.
So my name is Jafor, guys. I'm from New Jersey. Before I started with Airbnb, I was working in corporate America, making 50 a year. I just was a person just trying to look how to make some extra money to take care of the family. God forbid they laid me off or I lost my job. That's everyone's corporate fear. So I stumbled upon Airbnb, arbitrage to a buddy that was posting on social media. He had his P&L sheets. He had like one or two units at the time. He was posting some Excel sheets with like some numbers. I was like, hey, what you got going on? And then he kind of filled me in on the backstory on what he's doing, and it just sold to me that it's so much better than at the time being. If you have less than 10K, 20K around, it's better to get into Airbnb arbitrage, a big house if you can't even.
For sure. So as he just mentioned to you guys started at the age of what, 23?
I started at 23.
So now you're 26, but you made your first 100,000 a month on Airbnb at the age of 25.
Yes.
Right now, tell them a little bit about, you got started about a couple years ago. How did you get started, and were you scared?
Oh, for sure. I was so scared to even invest in my material to even purchase from someone. It was at the time $700, and to me, making 55K a year after taxes, I'm taking home like 540. To me, at the time, 700 was so much money. It's still a fair amount of money. I just couldn't sleep one night when I was telling myself, purchase this educational material. I will learn and be able to escape this system that I'm in. So it was really scary. That was step one. Once I saw myself paying that 700, 900, whatever, everything else fell into place.
So step one was like you willing to invest into yourself to get education.
Exactly.
It wasn't just starting the business randomly.
Yeah, that's the hardest part people don't get. Like, you're taught, go to school, take out like $100,000 worth of loans for med school, university, whatever, for a $700 course to reinvest into yourself. What do you have to lose? People spend more on drinks and clubs and bars.
Yeah, but do you think it was the course that made you successful, or are you eventually?
It was the mindset and execution.
So anyone that's looking to get into something, you need the education, but I think that just helps you shift your mindset and get information. But eventually, you got to take the risk and actually. Later on, you ended up spending like a 5-figure investment as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. That was when I saw the model worked for me.
So he invested over 5 figures, which is over $10,000 for a one-time like mentorship, which most people just aren't willing to do nowadays. But tell them a little bit about what was your deal that really broke it for you, that you got the deal and you started actually like making money.
Yeah, so I saw a quick turnaround time where, they're just saying fast success, you should never try to have it. I saw that very early on when I started. Obviously, leading up to it was nerve-wracking, but then once I saw the returns, literally within a month, and
you started seeing like profits, like you were making more than what your rent was.
Exactly. It's not like, I made all the money back right away. No, I started seeing it in baby steps. This month
you saw social proof.
I saw this month I'm up. Next month I'm up. By month 3 and 4, I'm like, okay, this is working.
Yeah.
If this is what my return was from $700 of educational material, excluding all the fees that required me to start up, what's it going to be with a higher investment in education?
So currently now, how many properties are you running?
Around 28. All
right, so he's at about 28 properties through now. You've been doing it almost 3 years?
Yeah.
Now tell them a little bit about that process of like going from 0 units to 5 units to 28 units. Tell them a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so in the beginning, you have 1 to 5 units. You're able to really handle everything by yourself. You don't really need to hire everyone to run the operations. In terms of cleaning, handyman, stuff like, you're able to just, talk to them, get that done. Not really automated. But then once you go past 5, you actually turn into a real business owner, in my opinion, in terms of you have to have functions in place, you have to manage everything, then you have to worry about the finances in your business outside of just even Airbnb.
For sure. So now he's running over 28 properties, he has teams.
So I have 2 VAs, and I have an AI bot that's running the whole systems, and a property management software that has automated messages as well.
He doesn't run a huge team, but he has a lot of like systems and automations in place.
Yes.
Got it. And you're still working your job, so you don't have to quit what you were doing while like building some scaling.
Yeah, correct.
Do you think like someone that's looking to get started, do you think they have to like quit their job to do this, or is it something they can just start on?
They can definitely start on the side, but it really depends on the type of person you are and how far you can go, and it depends on the type of job you have. Like, if you're someone that's remote, you barely work 3 hours a day, 5, 7, whatever the case may be, you're able to pivot around and have multiple businesses There's people that have 5, 7, 10 businesses. It all depends on the bandwidth and how much tolerance.
Yeah, 100%. So let's tell them a little bit more details, right? You got started, you're doing $100,000 a month revenue on Airbnb now, but break it down for someone that maybe is like looking into this. What are like three things that you tell them to do if they want to go get there?
Yeah, so this is really good because I remember at the time I had this mindset, and whenever someone asks me, friends, family, whether it's a past student or something like that, I live by this term. Even till today, beggars can't be choosers. So if you're hungry for your first property, you can't be choosing that much. Yes, you should make a very educated calculation on what's going to give you best returns. But if there's something, you can't spend months over like 5, 7, 8, 10 months finding that perfect unit. Beggars can't be choosers. You take what you can get and you run with it and you execute.
Yeah, so
That's step one.
So eventually, it just comes down to taking action. You can't wait for everything to be.
Yeah.
Now that you've ran over 20 plus properties, how do you feel like now you're perfecting it? Before you just take raw action, and now it's like, how do I make it into like a beautiful business?
Yeah, there's a term called in the business, reverse arbitrage, which everyone wants to get up to. It's where, whether you have 400 properties, 100 properties, 50 properties, 10 properties, where people, landlords, the relationships you build, other companies reach out to you and say, hey, I got some vacancy. Can you take care of my problem? Or can you just clear these vacancies? You have a good rep, you have the money, let's make it happen. So once you start building the reputation in the business, and once you start growing, you're able to have that luxury per se to be very selective in what you want. And you know what you're looking for. You're not that beggars can be chooser mindset. You're very selective.
Yeah, 100%. So, and just like any business supply, you get started, you get some education, you take action, and you can figure out things along the way, right? Everything that you know today, did you know it when you first started? Or have you learned things like throughout the way?
Either flying a plane as it's getting built.
100%.
You're always learning things. I'm still learning.
Of course, now you've built the business pretty successfully. Someone that, let's say, does get started, what do you recommend for someone to like be able to scale to like the levels you've done? Because yes, making 10,000 a month on Airbnb is different from. What do you think allowed you to scale? And what do you think, like, what tips would you give to someone that wants to eventually create this like a real full-time income?
Two things. And number one is you have to take the risk where in the beginning I had a deal where I could have taken my first unit, I could have had more than just, but I chickened out and I wanted to be like, okay, I can cover the rent if I don't make money, with a job, this and however, after 3-4 months, that opportunity never came. And I'm like, well, this sucked. Number two, you just always have to be ready. It's a mindset.
Yeah, 100%. So as you just mentioned, now, of course, you built it successfully. I guess someone that's looking to get into the business, do you advise someone to go all in on this, or would you advise someone to kind of like?
It depends on your risk tolerance. So, my opinion, that's what I kind of referenced back to the previous with what I said I wish I did. If you're someone that has the bandwidth and finances, you have a 0% card, which I know you take care of a lot of people with. If you're able to get a lot of 0% cards and a good deal comes up where someone's going to give you 5, 10 property, you have to take it. If you ran the numbers and the math makes sense, you should take it. If there's something that you're being lazy, you're not running the numbers, you're going to not feel confident.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, of course, from the outside perspective, $100,000 sounds like a lot of money in a month, right? Which it is, 100%. But in the reality of things, I like to keep things as transparent as possible. $100,000 is, of course, in like revenue, right? Now, based on $100,000 of revenue that you did in a month, out of that, what would you say is roughly the profit? Yeah,
so profit margins vary anywhere from like, this is being a good operator, like the best, you're really pushing margins anywhere from 20 to 35% is very fair. A lot of people would agree. Yeah. Anything past that, even really good operators would be like, how? And that
maybe in a very high season.
High season depends on how you really are, in the deep woodwork.
So if you guys can, of course, determine common sense, $100,000 revenue on Airbnb is probably around $20,000 to $35,000 a month in profit, which is a real income. That's not having to work a job. That's you having freedom. That's probably you buying your dream car, all that kind of stuff. So that's good that you guys now get an idea of profit-wise, like what someone's able to make. Now, realistically, now that you're running 28 properties, how much hours per day or per week are you probably spending? Because just because you scale more property doesn't, in this business, always mean that you.
So all my systems and those 2 BAs I mentioned, so it doesn't sound like a lot, but because of the systems built, the automation, the AI and such, I get to choose how much I want to work. If there's a decision tree where if There's 5 to 10 steps, the employees created where if they're able to get through these 5 to 10 steps without me, don't even come to me. If it gets past step 10 in the decision tree, then it gets escalated, and that's when I get involved. So I'm not like out of it, but I'm doing not disturb on and such. I'll keep my head in there, and sometimes I'll help out. Sometimes I can't stop myself from doing the work, but yeah.
Roughly a week, how many hours do you roughly see?
6 to 10. The thing is, some days I'll probably maybe put in 5 hours, and then the rest of the week, 30 minutes.
Yeah. So roughly, with running $100,000 a month plus monthly business on Airbnb, he's spending roughly around 6 to 10 hours per week. So the goal of this business isn't for you to make. Yes, the goal is to make a lot of money, but the goal is how do you even make 5K a month, 10K a month, 20K a month profit while you still spend 10 hours per week? Because now what? This guy's in his mid-20s. He just booked to like Spain. You're about to go to Europe.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
that. But why do you like? The reason he's going to be able to go on a Europe trip for like multiple weeks in summer is because he knows he has a business that makes you passive income. Yeah. But if you knew you had a job and your job you had to let go of, you wouldn't go probably take a 3-week trip.
I wouldn't. I'm going for the whole month, and it's like, if you think about it, I mean, everyone should enjoy life, whatever level you're at. But if I have a job, type of person, how could I go somewhere else, while not making some sort of have no movement, So yes, B&B, it gives you a really good persona to live in life, because life's a video game.
Yeah. So the goal of Airbnb or any business should be, how do you make money where you're not trading all of your time, or you're not trading 5-10 hours per day, but 5 to 10 hours per week, and you can make serious income where it allows you to go do stuff, right? Like today, I've spent less than an hour on my Airbnb business, but money still came in. So that's the goal. Now, if you guys, of course, have any questions, we're gonna leave it in the comment section. Drop any kind of questions you guys have in the comment section. And if you guys are looking for like direct one-on-one coaching, make sure that you guys click the link in the below. I've broken down a free masterclass how Airbnb actually works. And if you guys are interested in like one-on-one coaching, you can actually book a call with me or my team, and we can actually see if it's a good fit for us to work together and help you guys hit your goals. We look forward to see you guys on the next video.